Hola mi gente, MsMalcolmHughes here. Welcome back. Today I'm coming to bring you all another book review. And today we will be doing a book that, what a story. It is You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty by Akwaeke Emezi. This story, y'all, this story did me. And when I'm telling y'all, the feels, all the feels. So the story is about, honestly, one character, but there's so many. So it's about a young woman named Faye, and she's trying to move on after the death of her husband. It's years afterwards. She's still dealing with the pain of it, but that's not where we're dropped into the story. We're dropped into the story with her hooking up with some random guy in the bathroom. Talk about killer first lines. It says, Milan was the first person Faye had fucked since the accident. And so we don't really know what's going on, but immediately we know we're dropped into what some would call chaos, what I would call a great read, okay? So we navigate that situation with her and her feelings throughout that first initial moment of knowing that she's in this, right? The guys ask her, hey, do you want to slow down? And she's like, why would I want this to slow down? It has to go faster. This is what she's thinking. And so from there, we're on this whirlwind journey with her of trying to figure out her emotions. She has a best friend named Joy who is hilarious. Hilarious. I cannot say that enough. Abrasive, out of control, but fantastic. And as she's going through, she's not really sure what she's feeling, how she's feeling, right? This is new. She hasn't had sex since her husband died. And she's still been dealing with the grief and the weight of it all. This guy, Milan, obviously does not know that, the guy she's hooking up with. But we are quickly introduced to all of what that means. So we go through the time with her dating Milan and trying to figure out what that means. Eventually, it gets more complex because when she goes out to dinner with him to meet, his friends, it's a kickback, right? One of his best friends is giving her the eye hard. And it's not even like he's just giving her the eye and she feels nothing. She feels something too, which makes this dangerous. Tries to fight it. Way comes onto way. She eventually stops dating Milan because it was just a hookup anyway, right? Neither of them were really invested and she's just not feeling it. And she's kind of feeling his friend. You know what I'm saying? She's kind of feeling his friend. So they eventually start going out. They don't have sex. He's okay with taking it slow. He actually says he saw her from the first time when she hooked up with his friend, but it was just something about her that drew him in and intrigued her. She herself is an artist, so she really puts her all into her art, and that's how she's able to express herself and her feelings. And this becomes important because the new guy, Nasir, actually has some connections back in his home island. He's going home. There's going to be an artist exhibit, which is a huge deal. And he actually has recommended that Faye be a part of it. The curator has looked into her work and wants her to be a part of it. So now she's invited. Now she's going to this island. She gets to be a guest in his family's home. And she gets to exhibit her work on this huge scale that's going to be obviously great for her career. So she says yes to going. She's a little hesitant at first, but okay, why not? He says it's as friends. They're being friends and they're taking it slow. But she decides to go. She's feeling him, right? She's feeling him. He's really feeling her, but she's feeling him. Trying to take it slow. They're at the stage where they're kissing now, making out, and it's progressing. It seems like a natural progression. They go on this trip and everything changes. Her whole life changes. And this is where we get into the bulk of the book. So on the way, Nasir tells her, hey, just so you know, my dad is Eileen Blake. Eileen Blake is a world-renowned chef. Been on MasterChef, been on, just think of celebrity chefs, right? He's a celebrity chef. 2 Michelin star restaurant. Okay, he has a restaurant with 2 Michelin stars. 2 Michelin stars. So he's not for play, right? So she's like, wait, your dad's Eileen Blake? What? I'm going to Eileen Blake's house? And she knows this because her best friend adores him, right? So that puts some heft to it. There was some complexity there though, because Nasir kind of tells her like, hey, when you meet him, he's a bit more flamboyant than he seems on TV. It was a big deal on the island years ago, but it doesn't mean anything. She's like, what? Like, are you trying to tell me he's gay? And he's like, no, it doesn't mean anything. It's just how he is. And it's like, okay, like, what do you want to do with that information? But okay. He's like, I just don't want you to be surprised when you meet him. So she meets him and it's great. It's like the dad is a superstar, so people are admiring him in the airport or whatever. She meets him, it's fine. But she immediately recognizes, like, oh snap, his daddy fine. But she's saying like, oh, I'm tripping, right? It's nothing. He's just an attractive guy. But she feels for his father immediately what she hasn't really felt for him. Like, Nazir's fine too. Milan was fine too. But one thing she really unpacks is that, like, she was attracted to them after she realized how attracted to her they were. So she's recognizing like an instant connection to this guy, and it's like, oh, I'm fucked. Like, oh. But we progress on. They go to the house. It's fine. There's a dinner. He's a chef, so obviously it's amazing. And they're talking, and she's like, no, I think I'm interested in this man. Eventually she talks to her best friend Joy, and Joy's like, girl, wait, what? No, first of all, that's crazy. But also, you're not attracted to him, right? That's his father. You can't do that. Of course, he's attractive. His dad would be attractive. There's nothing there. You're tripping. And so Faye is like, okay, I'm tripping. I might be tripping, whatever. It progresses. One thing becomes another. It becomes complex. At first, Faye's like, it's just me. He doesn't like me back. They share war stories. And by war stories, I mean their deep traumas. Faye has lost her husband. Aleem has lost his wife. They don't trauma bond, but they are able to share honest parts of themselves with each other that they haven't been able to share with other people. And they both know the heft and the pain of losing someone. So they're able to have honest conversations and really unpack that. Eventually, one thing leads to another, and a lot transpires, okay? I don't want to get into all of it, but it's so good. It's so good. The writing of that intensity. I'm about to read this book again. I want y'all to know how I feel about this book, because when I first got this book, I checked out the ebook version from my library and I read it online. And then I bought it once I finished because I needed it in my collection. Let's get into why. The writing is so good. They have done a great job, because they identify as they, the author. They have done a great job of writing characters that are fully themselves, right? I love here the open honesty around sexuality. Aleem lets her know, like, it was never a secret. My first wife knew about me, knew that I was bisexual. So he sacrificed a lot as his kids got older and felt a way about it. But then Faye is also bisexual, who's kind of in love with her best friend, but it's not a thing. So there is even a line where they laugh, because she's like, this is the most bisexual conversation I've ever had. But it's raw and it's honest. And I appreciated the humanity of it, of their ability to be completely themselves with each other, and no one wants to change each other. And even though they have both been with someone of the same gender as themselves, there was no doubt and question of their attraction to each other and wanting that to be that. And so I love that, because sometimes people overcomplicate things that are just simple. I'm attracted to you, I want you. All of that other whatever, it doesn't matter beyond this moment of what I'm trying to build with you. And so I loved that here. Loved the characters being their full selves. Can't say that enough. The writing was good. It was funny when it was supposed to be funny. It was deeply emotional when it was supposed to be deeply emotional. I believed all the passion. Some people would say it was chaotic in the sense of all the drama, but it was so good, and it was someone's full human experience, and I appreciated that. As someone who's lived and had many life experiences, you can appreciate the open drama of it. Sometimes life is messy and you just gotta lean in. And this is one of those books where it demonstrates life is messy. It can be complicated. It's not black and white, right? I'm on this island with this guy. I don't expect to fall for his father, and his father to fall for me, this mega superstar chef. That's not what I was anticipating in the least bit, but for us to connect on a very human level. But then what's the fall off of that, right? What's the fallout of that? This man loves her, and she is trying to be with his father? You trying to be with my father? And it's that, right? That was a Chappelle Show callback if you missed it. But she is very aware of that. She's often like, this is Nazir's father. His father. That's not a small thing. So you can just imagine all of the complexities that come with that. All of the hard conversations that they have to have. Nazir also has a sister who ain't really on Faye's side from the moment that she walks through the door, okay? Or they meet, actually, they initially meet back in New York at the dinner the same night that she meets Nazir. But the sister ain't really rocking with her. So you can only imagine that this situation only exacerbates her ill will toward Faye. So the fallout is immense. But the writing is worth it. The plot, the storyline, the pacing is all so good. And the big thing, you all know I have a thing about endings. When I read the last line of this book, my thought was that would be a great ending, right? And then I turned the page and it was the end. I cried. Because you know I have a thing with endings, and sometimes people end prematurely, or sometimes people go too far. And just reading that, though, I was like, oh, that would be a great, the last line. I won't even read this, y'all, because I don't want to ruin it. But the last line, I was like, that would be a good ending. And then I turned the book and it was the end. And I even ended up putting on my Instagram, I was like, am I crying because the book is over, or am I crying because I was alive and I got to read it? Because there's so much about life and death in this book. And how do you manage once you live beyond someone you've loved? And not to get too deeply into my own story, but you probably mentioned it before, I have suffered from like complicated grief from losing someone I loved years ago. And so understanding all the ways that void continues to be with you, and their gratitude for finding something beyond that point in their life in which they themselves didn't think they would survive. Oh, chef's kiss. This book was so good, y'all. Like, I cannot recommend it enough. I could talk about it all day. When I posted that on my Instagram, people were responding. They love this book. Somebody in particular was just like, both. You're crying because of both. I responded, I was like, the book was so. And I just capitalized S-O. And they responded so. Like, you didn't even have to go beyond and say what that so is, but the book was so. Right? Amazing. You could say amazing, you could say fantastic. The book was so. And they understood it and they got it. And it was just a moment and a vibe. And that's what this book is. It's so well done. So much so that I'm going to read everything that they've written. I've already downloaded another one of their books. So for those of you wondering, I'll tell you that book toward the end as far as what I'm reading right now. Just so good. On my scale of read now, read when you have time, or read if you want, you all have no doubts that it's absolutely a read now. Like, I don't care what you're doing. I'm reading other books and I'm about to reread this one. It's worth it. I cannot get, the writing is so good. It's just so well done. Whatever you would want from a book, it has that. It hits that. It's so good. It's really so good. I'm gonna have this book again because I want a first edition of it. Y'all not collect. So that's how y'all gotta understand. That's how invested I am in this book. I told y'all I'm reading everything else that they've written. So I can't give it a bigger stamp than that. I had a digital copy, I bought a physical one. I'm looking for a first edition of that. And I'm reading everything that they've written. I cannot give a writer a bigger stamp of approval. Or just gratitude or appreciation. Listen, I'm a fan. Go out and read this immediately. You will thank me later. I have no doubts. So the book that I'm currently reading is one of their books, actually titled Freshwater. I believe that's right, Freshwater. I'm also reading The Product Plan by Ashley Antoinette. Y'all, listen, the ethic world has kind of got me caught up. I learned about the Product Plan through Ethic and Yaya, so I wanted to read that storyline. I have finished the Butterfly series. That will be coming up soon. Still waiting for her to drop the next book, Ashley Antoinette. I'm not gonna rush you as someone who's writing my debut novel, since I get it. Okay, you need time. The characters will speak what they will. I respect it. But yeah, that's what I'm reading right now. Some other book reviews may be coming. Again, reading a couple of books of poetry that I've kind of thrown in there, so I'll get those to you as well. Let me know what you all are reading in the comment section down below. As always, I would love to know. Also, have you read this book? Please let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you've read it, please let me know. I want to talk about it so badly with everyone. That's it for me. I'm MsMalcolmHughes. Until next time, please remember to give time, to be kind to each other, and to have the best day of your life on purpose. Peace. O dabo. Adios. Ciao.